Okay, so I trust we are live, and we're going to start in a couple of minutes. Just testing out a couple of things at this point. Hopefully you can hear me. So it's 10:54. Let's wait a few minutes. And the chat box is open. I hope that it works. So I am testing here, and let me know in the chat if you can hear me, if there's anybody there. Again, we're going to go live in about 3 minutes. Okay. It is almost 11 o'clock. I think I might be by myself, but we are going to start our first live broadcast. I first want to talk about, briefly, before we get into painting, the sacred places that I have started to do. Here is one. I hope you can see it. Let's see. It is the church at IC with communicants and the altar in the back. And it's very light. I like to think it works, and it's on heavy watercolor paper. I also have St. Leonard's Church in Boston, which I just completed. It's an absolutely gorgeous church, and I hope you can see it there. It has wonderful frescoes on the ceiling. It has, as Trinity Church does, which we're going to attempt to do in a minute. And I might as well just start. Let's wait for one more minute in case anyone might be coming. Here's the church, the Trinity Church that we're going to do. Here's actually a photograph of the interior of the church, and which I did rely on. Of course, the problem with relying on photographs is that it gets very dark where it shouldn't be, and gets too light sometimes where it shouldn't be. But in any event, what we're going to do is work a little bit on this area down here. This is the pulpit from which I have drawn in a preacher. There are the pews, and there are the stained glass windows. And there are up here some wonderful paintings that I have sketched in. I have found something called Chromatech, which is a watercolor pen, if you will. And when I'm doing an architectural scene like this that has so many details, I have found it works pretty well if you take a gray and lightly use it to sketch with. Because it's watercolor, it works seamlessly with the paint. And it helps if you're trying to do a impressive structure. It helps to draw as opposed to just paint. So that's what I have. I mean, if you are very light with it, drag it along on a rough piece of paper. This is Vietnamese bohung paper that I have come to really like. You can lift off. It takes repeated washes without getting muddy. Of course, as we know, mud is the answer. I'm sorry, mud's the problem. That's what happens if you are working a watercolor to depth, if you will. You end up killing it. If anyone is out there and wishes to ask a question in the chat, I'm ready and hopefully willing and able. I'm hopefully able. So this ear right here is an absolutely gorgeous, if you can see it, it's an absolutely gorgeous pulpit from which many preachers have preached for a number of years at Trinity. Trinity Church is almost without equal in Boston. There's Old South, which is tremendous. There's the Cathedral of the Holy Cross, which is fabulous. There's also, as we know, St. Leonard's, which I just did recently. But then in the back, I put this layer of Mars Violet in, and then I started to lift off of it because it just became too dark, too uninteresting. Then we have the altar piece back here, which, what do they say? At least that's what I was taught. If you indicate certain things, it becomes interesting. Indicate, don't state, is one thing that I was taught, and I still go by it. So, with that in mind, I mean, you can actually very lightly start to put some of the stained glass windows in. You want to keep it very light, and this is a gray pen, so I'm going to use it for a little bit. but I will just only indicate certain things. And again, because it's light, the idea it will pop if everything near it is darker in value. Values are the key. Watercolor is just that. It is color with water. And it's gorgeous. If you look here, what I have done, I have floated in washes. I have a wash of teal. I have a wash of a little burnt sienna, a little yellow ochre, and ultramarine. And I've repeated that pattern. And I've kept that limited palette for the ceiling, if you will. What I have gotten used to is creating little cups of color that I find so handy to go back to. So here I have Mars violet, I have ultramarine, I have turquoise, and I have yellow ochre. And I go back to them quite a bit during the painting. It does a couple of things. One, it keeps my washes clean. And two, it limits my colors so I don't go too crazy on it. But while we're working on the stained glass windows, I'm just going to indicate a couple of lines for the panes of glass, and then I'm going to go back in and drop in a little color, just a little color, and we'll see how that goes. Sacred places have really attracted my attention the older I get, and God knows I'm getting older. And you might say, why is he so fascinated with those right now? Well, as I get along in years, spirituality means more and more to me, to be quite honest. Painting always meant a lot to me, but to put it in context, I guess you come to the realization you're not going to live forever. Do you have a relationship or wish a relationship with a supreme being? And I do. I wish for one, and I think I have one. And one way to further express that I have found is paintings of sacred places, if I can do it justice. And I try to be very respectful, as I've mentioned before, respectful to the many, many people who have, over the years, offered their prayers, offered their intentions, and I respect that. And I can only imagine how many people, how many years people have been in these pews asking, pleading, hoping, praying. And it's a touching thing, really, I feel. So I'm just dabbing in lightly. As I said before, I'm indicating it. I'm not really stating a lot. I'm just, and rough paper helps you with this. So I put a little red in. I'm going to put a little ultramarine in, which is right here. I don't want to go too dark. So one thing about good paper is you can blot right out on it. And make sure it doesn't get too dark. That's all. And I think I might try just a little turquoise. And to me, it's just a beautiful color that works with the other blue and the warm, whether it's ochre or not. That's all I think I would do with those. And then the one thing that I have not really done too much with is the wall, this wall right here. And I hope you've heard about dry brushing, but it really is as simple as you keep your brush as dry as you can, and then drag some of your watercolor over it, like right here. You see, if you look here, how that wall has become darker, and it's cool. This is really hot red, yellow. This is not. So I'm going to put in a little ultramarine into the mixture and just give it some character. It's sort of a nice, clean dark, if you will. And kind of the same over here. Again, keeping it light because that's the intent here. Although I do think we could add some darks right here. And I'm going to use my ultramarine again. And you can't quite see them, but I remember them. These are places where people can come and sit, if you will, right? And again, having in mind that I want to surround my lights, which are right here, with the dark. That's just a little too blue. Where are the steps going up? And there's some demarcations right over here that we're just going to indicate. And here, you can see it, you can if I move it up, is a red carpet, which I have floated in earlier today. It's still kind of wet, but I'm going to put a little more in because if you squint your eyes, you want to get the value. What I mean by that is the color's important. The value is key. And this will take another wash. It's probably going to take 2 or 3 more washes. Just because. Yeah, and I'm just going to let that sit right there. So let's go over and have a little fun with our preacher. I want him to be dark, because he is dark, generally speaking. And the second reason I want him to be dark is I want him to be set off against the lighter background. So we'll float that in there like that. And at the same time, we have this, I don't know if you can see it, but we have a beautiful sculptures, if you will, that are situated right on the pulpit. So I've indicated with my pen some wooden nodules, if you will. And like anything, the first time you do it, it looks like, oh my God, that doesn't work. Well, I didn't expect it to work the first time. I'm going to go back in and float in a little color. And dab it, if you will. Because all it is lights and darks with the light streaming. I have the light coming in from the left over here. And I have a person in the congregation right there. And we're going to add more as time goes on. Here's another one that I've outlined. And there would be no doubt more than a few. So what I would do in this situation, because I put a little wash already to indicate these pews, but I want to add some more figures for interest. And so I have a flat that I put a little water on and I lift off with it. We have some more attendees, we'll call them, here. Maybe another here. But off air, if you will, I will do many more of these. I don't want to bore you to tears by putting in all of these, but that's what I will do, because it will add a great amount of interest to the painting. And we'll add some over here too. And the pews are a challenge because they a lot of it's a lot of drawing, a lot of darks. So you can see right here that they're basically just horizontal lines with darks and lights, but that's easier said than done sometimes. So at my advanced age of 75, soon to be 76, I use a straight edge um, without apology, as they say. And again, it doesn't have to be exact. In fact, it shouldn't be exact. It should be, indicated. And then certain darks are drawn in, floated in, if you will, right? Okay, so I think that's pretty much all I wanted to do for this live demonstration. The windows need more work. Everything needs more work. I'm going to go back into it with a little drawing. And the figures need more work, but that needs to dry before I can do that. And let me just switch back here, because I can, and say thanks so much for coming. I'm not sure how many people are here, but the general idea was to show you how I work, my setup, and in sacred places, how